Let's talk about one of life's biggest, most common mysteries. What is time? Now, our guide for this isn't some modern physicist, but a philosopher from the 4th century, St. Augustine. And you'll see his struggle to figure this out from over 1,600 years ago feels incredibly fresh and relevant today. It all begins, pretty fittingly, with a confession.
Right off the bat, we start with this raw admission. Augustine, one of the most brilliant minds in history, is completely stumped by something we live in every single moment. He gets that he exists in time, he talks about time, but when he tries to really pin down what it is, he's got nothing. And that's the mystery we're going to try and unpack.
You know, the thing about Augustine's exploration of time is that it's not some dry academic lecture. It's a deeply personal, almost desperate diary of his own confusion. And that's what makes it so relatable, even after all these centuries. How can this thing, this flow we all experience, be so impossible to explain?
This is the absolute core of the problem. He's basically saying, I know what it is, so why can't I say what it is? He gets frustrated because he has to use words like long and short time just to describe how confused he is, but he can't even define what makes a time long. It's the ultimate I know it when I see it problem, but for the very fabric of our reality.
So Augustine does what any logical person would. He thinks, okay, if I can't define it, maybe I can understand it by figuring out how we measure it. I mean, we talk about long poems and short sounds, so we have to be measuring something, right? Well, this is where things start to get really weird.
And this is the question where his logic just hits a brick wall. Because to measure something, it has to be there. You need something to put your metaphorical ruler against. But when he actually looks for time, it seems to just evaporate.
Okay, so think it through with him. He reasons that we can't possibly be measuring the past because it's gone, it's over, it no longer exists. So that's out. And we can't be measuring the future because it hasn't arrived yet. You can't measure something that literally isn't here. So both the past and the future are non-starters.
So you might be thinking, aha, we measure the present. But Augustine points out that the present moment has no length. It's like an infinitely thin line. The second you try to grasp it, to measure it, it's already become the past. It just vanishes. So you can't measure that either. So he's at a total dead end. He's systematically checked off every possibility and none of them work. We can't measure the future, can't measure the past, can't measure the present. He even wonders if we measure time as it's passing. But that just circles back to the same impossible question. How do you measure something that's constantly disappearing?
To break through this, he comes up with a really clever thought experiment. Imagine you say a short syllable, like da. It's over in an instant. Then you say a long one, like da. We all know the second one is longer, maybe double the first. But how? By the time you're hearing the long one, the short one is already gone. They never existed at the same time to be compared. And this leads him to a massive insight. Whatever he's measuring, it's not the actual sounds out there in the world.
And this is the great turning point. After all the head-scratching and logical dead ends, he asks the big question. If it's not the external events, not the sun moving, not sounds, what on earth am I actually measuring?
And here it is, his revolutionary answer. An idea so ahead of its time, it's almost hard to believe. Time, he realizes, isn't an external thing at all. It's an internal one. Just let that sink in for a moment. Augustine's big aha moment is that he's been looking in completely the wrong place. He hasn't been measuring physical things. He's been measuring the impression, the memory, that those things leave behind inside his own consciousness. For Augustine, time is what he calls a protraction, a stretching out of the mind itself. So when you hear a sound, the sound wave itself is gone in a flash, but the impression it made on you, that lingers. And that is what has duration. That's what we can measure. We aren't measuring the world, we're measuring our own experience of the world.
Okay, so how does this actually work? Augustine doesn't just drop this big idea and walk away. He actually breaks down the mechanics of how our mind builds this experience of time, and he calls it the threefold present.
This is honestly brilliant. He says there are not three separate things called past, present, and future. There's only one present, which are mind experiences in three different ways. The future exists right now as expectation. The past exists right now as memory.
And both of these are constantly flowing through the narrow gate of our immediate attention. It's all happening right now, inside your head.
To make this less abstract, Augustine uses another fantastic analogy. He asks us to just imagine reciting a psalm that you know by heart.
So before you say a single word, the entire psalm exists inside your mind. But how? It's all held in expectation. Your memory of reciting it is empty. Your attention is poised. But 100% of the action is stored in what you expect is about to happen. Then you start to speak. And this incredible, dynamic process kicks off. Your attention is laser-focused on the one word you're saying right now. And as each word passes through that point of attention, your expectation of the future shrinks, while your memory of the past grows. The future is literally being converted into the past, passing through the needle's eye of the present, all within your mind.
And once you've spoken the last word, the process is complete. The expectation is now totally empty, and the entire psalm exists as a complete unit, a single impression in your memory. This is his model in a nutshell. The time it took to recite the psalm was never out there. It was an extension created entirely inside the mind.
And then, Augustine takes this idea to its final, profound conclusion. If our experience of time is this mental process of being stretched out and divided, what would an existence without that division be like? This leads him to contrast our human time with God's eternity.
And the difference is just staggering. We live lives severed amid times, always distracted, constantly torn between what we remember from the past and what we anticipate for the future. But for a divine being outside of time, there is no past or future. There's just a single, eternal, unchanging now, where all of history and all of the future are known at once. And for Augustine, this is the really deep personal lesson. Our everyday experience of time is, in a way, a distraction. It's our consciousness being pulled in different directions. And the spiritual goal is to heal that rift, to become whole, to be focused not on the scattered pieces of yesterday and tomorrow, but on the single, eternal reality of the present.
So Augustine's whole journey leaves us with this final, mind-bending question. His idea that time is a feature of consciousness feels so modern you could hear it in a discussion about quantum physics. But if what we call time is just the way our minds process things, then what is reality really like outside of our perception? What exists beyond that stream of memory and expectation? That is the profound mystery Augustine left us with, and one we're still trying to answer today.